Our teams are back, of course, talking about some Final Fantasy VII. We're talking Remake. We're also talking 10 again. So when it comes to this channel, we try to cover everything we can involving the Final Fantasy VII and 10 connection theory, any sort of Easter eggs, whatever. I thought I kind of covered them all, but somebody pointed out something in yesterday's video. Like in the comment section, somebody mentioned something from a Remake, an Easter egg for Final Fantasy X, that I've somehow never seen this entire time. And it was kind of like a follow-up to yesterday's video, sort of, because we are talking about a summon from Final Fantasy X. But in that video, we just kind of speculated, right? We talked about a particular summon that I think is going to be in Rebirth or the third game, potentially. But also just some summons I wouldn't mind seeing when it comes to like the Remake project. And the one that makes the most sense, or the game that makes the most sense, is Final Fantasy X, just because of the connections they have. You could bring in like kind of any summon from Final Fantasy X, but my personal favorite summon from 10 and the entire franchise is Anima. And it turns out Anima's actually kind of already in Remake. Shout out to Knocker420 for leaving this comment on yesterday's video. They said, Anima. If we look back to the jukebox in FF7R and the track, Fight On, you can clearly see that Anima is on the cover of that track. Sick metal song, by the way. Many people try to write it off, but I think there's reason to him being there, especially with the FF10 Easter eggs in 7 Remake. And not that it necessarily matters, but I do got to make a quick correction, which I've had to do a few times relatively recently. But a lot of people do refer to Anima as a him. If there's even a gender at all, because obviously it's an aeon, pulled from the depths of hell. If as a gender at all, it's a woman, because it was Seymour's mother that like sacrificed herself to be the final aeon to take down Sin, right? But Seymour never actually fought Sin with Anima. Anyways, when I first read that comment, my reaction was, what the fuck? Anima's in Final Fantasy VII Remake? How have I not seen this, heard this, whatever? I tried to look it up. I've seen the image, obviously, but I tried to look it up, and I don't see anybody talking about this. But when you look at the image, which we're about to look at, it's clearly inspired by Anima, if it's not outright Anima. This right here, this is the cover for the Fight On track that you can get in Final Fantasy VII Remake. And obviously, if you know what Anima looks like, just looking at that right away, screams Anima. I don't think I've ever seen this, or paid attention. I've obviously collected all the songs in Remake. If I knew that this was alluding to Anima, I forgot about it or something. But yeah, first and foremost, what stands out is the chains on the image, which is a big part of Anima's character model. The arms are bound on Anima with like straps around the forearms, so there's also the chains going around the body that are also locking the arms together. Look at the monster's hands. It does look like they're crossed over. You see what appears to be thumbs, as much as like a demonic monster can have thumbs, but it looks like the arms are also crossed, maybe bound by these chains. But it goes more than that too. You also have these like spiky shoulder things in the background, kind of in the dark. And if you actually pay attention to Anima's character model, like where the red parts are, what the red part is, there's spikes coming off the shoulders, which I don't think I've ever actually even noticed that, but trying to dissect this picture, I was really looking at Anima's character model. One thing that kind of stands out is in the Fight On cover art, the monster clearly has 2 eyes, but Anima only has 1 eye exposed, right? There's bandages all around Anima's head, so clearly there would be 2 eyes. There's just a hole right there so it can like attack and do like the pain attack and shit or whatever. So clearly Anima does have 2 eyes, we're just not seeing the other eye. So if we look at the cover art for Fight On, you can see like the teeth, which in general are just exposed, which is what Anima has. Like there's no lips or anything on Anima. But the canine teeth that like curl outward on top and bottom is a big noticeable thing on Anima, and you can clearly see it on this monster too. The silhouette of the monster on the cover art is different than Anima, of course, but again, Anima's head's wrapped. And the fact that we're seeing both eyes, if this is meant to be Anima, the head's clearly unwrapped. We don't know what Anima looks like underneath all those bandages or whatever the hell is wrapped around Anima's head. So getting into this stuff for this video, I was kind of hoping there would be some sort of connection with like the Fight On track and Final Fantasy X, but looking into it, it doesn't appear to be. I just wanted that to like hopefully solidify this even more. But Fight On only appears in FF7 related stuff, and then like Final Fantasy 15, which just has music from a bunch of other Final Fantasy games, and stuff like Theater Rhythm and like mobile Final Fantasy games and things like that, unfortunately. I'm not gonna get like super deep into this shit because I would be speaking out of my ass, but like the name Anima is inspired by like Carl Jung, and like what the Anima is, I'm not gonna break it all down. You can Google that if you want to. But also the Anima Sola, which is like Roman Catholicism. It's like a soul bound in purgatory by chains, which when the chains are broken, it means that they've repented from their sins. And clearly that's what the fuck is happening here, because you see the chains breaking. This I thought was so damn cool, man, just because I love Anima and I just haven't seen this or ever noticed this. And it's just kind of funny coming off the back of yesterday's video, right? I just talked about Anima being in like the 7 Remake project just because it's my favorite summon, but also that little bit of the connection stuff with Final Fantasy 7 and 10. It turns out they actually did put Anima, or something very, very close to Anima. Like, I'm like 99.99% sure this is Anima. At the very absolute least, it is 100% inspired by Anima. Also, just in general, like, because I believe this is Anima, this gives us another Final Fantasy X Easter egg within Final Fantasy VII Remake to further keep on connecting these games together. And I just absolutely love that shit, dude. I'm gonna go back to something I kind of briefly touched on earlier, like the significance of the song itself. Final in the original FF7 was like boss music, and when it comes to remake, it plays in several different areas. You collect it as, you know, for a quest or whatever initially, but there's also like the Airbuster music, which is like a different arrangement of it. There's also the Arsenal music, which is another like arrangement of it. So Final's played a lot, and it's boss fight music, so maybe this is the significance. You do fight Anima in Final Fantasy X, and you fight Dark Anima with like the, you know, international and like HD remasters and stuff like that. Maybe that's why they chose Anima. I don't know. So that puts us up to like 3 Easter eggs now in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Maybe, possibly, sort of, if we want to reach 4, because we have Anima, we have young Shinra on the magazine from Ten-2, and then we have like the adult Albed guy in like the Shinra Museum in Remake. And then we also have Auron, kind of. We did a whole video about that shit from like the initial reveal trailer for Remake back in 2015. There's a person in the background whose vague silhouette looks like Auron, like the outfit he's wearing, the red jacket covering the face a little bit. It's pretty. That's a reach one, of course, but I did a whole video about that if you want to go watch that. But yeah, with yesterday's video, we're talking about the summons, and I was never like high on the possibility of there being like a 10 summon. I just don't think it's an impossibility. But the fact that we're seeing like you know, an allusion or an Easter egg to a specific summon from Final Fantasy X, I don't think it's impossible. I'm not saying that Anima's confirmed for Rebirth or anything, but man, it's pretty damn cool coming off that discussion yesterday. Video, my dude. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, _DaveYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain or leave it like Cobain.